Okay. Okay, let me get all set for this, Irma. You ready? Hi, everyone. It's Cassandra Williamson, and that shouldn't be the Rusty Mead show. Let me go down so I can get rid of that. Anyway, I don't know if I can fix it or not. I can go like this. Bam, across the bottom. Show you. Nope. So that. There we go. Okay. Good. So as I said, this is Cassandra Williamson with the Cassandra Williamson Show and with Transgender Diverse Veterans of America Action Group. So today we have a lot of different things to talk about. First thing, though, I want to get a disclaimer out of the way. All the opinions expressed here are mine and mine alone. They do not necessarily reflect those of anyone in particular or any organization, agency, group of people, government, or whomever. Okay? It doesn't count any of that. Now, these are my opinions and mine alone. And they're likely to piss a few people off all over the place. Okay? So here we go. Just roll the intro. So hello, everyone. Hello. So we've got a lot of stuff to cover today. First thing is I want to bring you up to date on what happened last week with the protest at the Heritage Foundation. There were just three of us out there, but, we covered a lot of territory between me and Ann Murdoch, who is a retired Army Lieutenant Colonel and also the former president of TAVA, the Transgender American Veterans Association, and our vice president, Dr. Amaya Deakins, an Army veteran. So we were there, the three of us, and we were standing in front during their meeting last week, which was really, really very fascinating. So if you look over on our page, and some places over on our blog page and on our website, you'll see that there's some pictures over there of different people. Now, the first thing I want you to know is that most of the people who came out and interacted with me, they were not American. They were from different countries around the world. So, I spoke to people from Sweden and Norway and Germany, let me see, Lithuania, Iraq, people from and Pakistan. There were people there from all over the world. There were actually very few Americans, which was surprising until the last person that I spoke with, and I didn't recognize who he was at first, but he came out the door and he walked towards me, and I asked him how the event went, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to know how the program went in there. Do you really think that America's military is weak?" And first thing he asked me was, "Say, are you a reporter?" And I go, "Nope. I'm just with one of those organizations that is concerned that we've been excluded from these meetings. We just want to know." And I asked him about that, and he said, "Yeah." And I said, "So why is that? What is it? What is it that makes America's military weak today?" And I'm going to tell you, he just turned around and walked away. He didn't answer my question. He did not want to answer my question. He just turned around and walked off. Jeez, can you imagine that? So he did. He walked away. But after I got back to my hotel room that night, I discovered that this person was actually one of the panelists, Joe Kent. He's running for House, I think, in the state of Washington. I think it's WA3, Washington District 3, possibly. But anyway, his name is Joe Kent. He is a former Special Forces military person, retired at CW3, a Chief Warrant Officer 3, obviously highly skilled in the military and stuff like that. But he refused to answer my question and walked away. Now, I did get this at the very beginning of the meeting. I did get to talk with the Chief of Security at the very beginning. He knew who I was before I got there, not surprisingly. And he was going to try to get some contacts for me, somebody to come out and talk, but no one came out to talk. And then at the end of the meeting, he came up to me and said, "Cassandra, I'd like to get your contact information, and maybe I can relate to someone who would send you an email and talk with you." And I'm very courteous and respectful of him to do that, and I appreciate that. He's a retired state trooper. I think he's retired, former state trooper, I should say. But he was their head of security for the Heritage Foundation. So, he was very respectful, very nice person. You got my contact information, and I'm thinking as he's getting it, there's no one going to send a reply back to me. Why would they? I don't fit their narrative, right? So anyway, that was one of the biggest points we had to talk about. So that was Friday. That was Wednesday. And then, too, we've had a lot of other things happen since then, too. What was it, Saturday morning or yesterday morning? Erin in the morning came out with something about Ohio and Michigan. There was a recorded conversation that got picked up, that she had picked it up and broadcast the contents of that. And in it, they say that the end game for all of these pieces of legislation, they talk about protecting the children. They talk about cutting it off at age 18 or whatever for transgender affirming care and that kind of stuff, and making sure that no one under that age is getting any of those procedures or any of those things. And for the most part, they aren't anyway. But then they said the end game for this program, this thing in their vision, in their perspective, was that no one will ever have gender affirming care of any kind in the country, particularly in Ohio and Michigan, because they were state level representatives and leaders for those two states. So they were saying that out loud. They said that part out loud. It's something I've been saying for years now, that the end game has never been to do those little things, those important things. The end game has always been to remove all of the care for all people, LGBT people and transgender people specifically, but they're going after everyone. And they always have. And they've been doing that because, I don't know, they just feel kind of a funny way about us. They can't quite figure us out, I guess. But who cares? That's on them. So anyway, that was Erin in the morning. And then today I get up and watching Fox News. I'm in Eastern Kentucky right now with family. And I was watching Fox News Channel, and Governor Jim Smith of West Virginia was on. Now, West Virginia is just 5 miles from me, probably 5 miles, maybe 6, I don't know, something like that. Not very far at all. But anyway, Governor Jim Justice, who is running for Senate to take Joe Manchin's place in West Virginia, along with Riley Gaines, they were on the Fox News program, and there was someone else there I'd never seen before. But anyway, they are working on passing. I think he's getting ready to sign a bill into law that will restrict the care for trans people under 18, but also his biggest thing is to make sure that they're regulating the spaces. But the bill is basically defining what a woman is in West Virginia. But obviously, these things go much further than that. That's a superficial name that kind of grabs everybody's attention. We know that. That's how these politicians work. But they've got that name out there as defining a man and a woman in West Virginia. But buried within it, they also want to go after any of the identifications, in any records within the state, and make sure that it reflects only genetic sex. They call it biological sex, but in reality, that's what they're talking about, is genetic sex. And they might as well stick it with that. They're talking about genetic sex, but the only way to do that test is actually to do a genetic assessment, but they're not. They're just doing observational analysis and deciding that you are who the doctor says you are. But in reality, that's not sufficient. For most people, it is. 99.5% of the people in the world, you can do that. But there's still that 0.5, 0.6% or 0.7% of the people that you cannot do that with and paint them with that big, broad brush. You just can't do it. But anyway, so they want to go into all the public records and make sure it reflects only the biological sex, as they call it. Okay? So I don't know what that's going to do with my birth certificate. I'm in West Virginia as well, but they've already changed mine. So I don't know. I didn't see anything in there that retroactively changed things. That's coming next, because I know how these people work. They get one thing in, and the next time they expand it, the next time they add something else to it. And the whole goal is just to eliminate a whole class of people that they don't like. And that's what they're doing. And next time around, they'll do it. You can guarantee it. Particularly if these activists over on the far right, and I'm calling them activists or extremists, the activists over on the far right are the ones running the party. That's what you're going to get. So another thing is, I do want to ask everyone, if you would, on Wednesday, check out the Hill, the little news magazine, online news magazine source. Check out the Hill. They're going to be running an opinion piece that I wrote on Wednesday this week. So just keep an eye out for that. And we've got a lot of things that we need to be dealing with. One of the other big points is that we do have elections in our organization right now. There is voting taking place right now for president. And if you're one of our members, then and if you received this notice to vote, please do. We need to find out and make sure that, you're getting who you want. There are two candidates out there. One is Dr. Amaya Deakins, who is our current vice president, and she was with me in DC. And the other one is Sarah Calasanto, who is the chairwoman of the C3 right now, or our C3 side of things. And I use C3 to mean 501c3. That's the charity helping side. Whereas what I'm speaking from is the action group side right now, and that's our C4 side. All right, so go vote. You got two choices, Dr. Amaya Deakins or Sarah Calasanto. Both good people, both visionaries, both engaged in wanting to do things, and and they both have a vision. And sometime later this week, maybe Wednesday or so, I'll put out a little video clip from each of them and let them introduce themselves to you. The choice is entirely yours, but I'll post the link. If you're a member, you'll be receiving that information shortly. So with that in mind, I don't want to stay on here too long today. I just do want to say, though, that we're continuing our fight against the Heritage Foundation's Project 2025, because it is enormously hurtful to Americans, all Americans, not just those that are in this community I'm in, but all of them. And with that, I'm going to call it a day and just say, here's the extra.